The Arkham series is without a doubt one of the best series ever. In fact, it's my absolute favorite series, and it'd have to be, as I've spent over 2 months striving to beat this challenge. The challenge of beating all 4 Batman Arkham games without dying in one playthrough has actually proven much, much harder than I expected. Before I even began this challenge, I had spent hundreds of hours in the Arkhamverse, so I felt about as confident as the Waynes taking a shortcut through Crime Alley. And I don't think it's hyperbole to say I got it worse than them. 4 games, 1 goal. Survive each and every main story. If I die in any of the games, I have to restart the entire series. First Origins, then Asylum, third City, and finally Knight. So here we are in part 4 of the series, Arkham Knight itself, to finally bring the Arkham story to a close. At this point, my hit counter is up to 26.5 hits, and hopefully I can keep it there. If only, right? Obviously, spoilers ahead. Let's go save the city, and more importantly, stay alive, shall we? It's Halloween in Gotham, and you know what that means. It's time for the annual Supervillain City takeover. Scarecrow, my old friend from the asylum, intends to fear gas the entire city, so naturally everyone runs away. Well, except the large population of criminals who have been concussed so many times by Batman that they don't have the sense to run. But you know who does have the sense to flee? Me! I can deal with an asylum or two of loonies, but not the entire city. While trying to leave, I come across a hung-up corpse, which I think proves my point. This city wants to burn. Who am I to stand in the way of it? Unfortunately, Batman has something called a conscience? I think that's how it's said. So I'm stuck here. Turning back, I stumble upon yet another strung-up body because, sure, that's just what this city needs. Another serial killer. I rescue a cop only to nearly get run over. I don't know how this grapple gun makes sense, as Batman's flying off the ground at the same moment that he activates it? Doesn't it need time to reach the rooftop? Better not to question his teleportation powers. Who needs teleportation when I have this bat tank? I blow up the car that almost ran me over, but don't worry. Sure, the car is completely demolished at high speeds, but as Batman was responsible for the crash, no one died. How is it possible that he can safely predict those thugs will survive, you might ask? Well, you shouldn't ask. He's Batman. If he says he doesn't kill, the universe will bend to make it so he doesn't kill, no matter how improbable. Interrogating the driver, I learned where Scarecrow's hiding. Gotta say, Scarecrow looks quite different than I remember him. Poison Ivy explains that Scarecrow has recruited every major supervillain to help kill old Batman, except she refuses to go along with it. She's sick of mundane things like murdering Batman or wearing pants. Scarecrow's men aren't quick to let us go, but I call in the tank to deal with them. Watch they fire back with tanks of their own. What is the point of being a filthy rich billionaire if everyone has tanks now too? Thankfully, they're simple to destroy, and I take Ivy to the GCPD. Despite being completely optional, I decide to go after Riddler, who has designed a grand racetrack for me. Guess we all need our hobbies. It's been a bit since I used the Batmobile, so I'm not at the top of my game. In fact, while trying to readjust, I end up accidentally closing this door right on myself, blowing me up. Yep, you saw that right. I just blew myself up with a door on an optional side mission a half hour into the game. My genius is truly frightening. While it might be tempting to check myself into the nearest insane asylum, best to just start over. I don't do quite as nice as my last run, but I do make it through Origins easily. Unfortunately, Asylum ends quickly when I accidentally get caught while sneaking, leading to Gordon's death. And yes, like the perfectionist idiot I am, I do count other characters' death as ruining the no-death idea. Anytime I see that game over screen is cause for a restart. If you put as much time as I have into this challenge, you'd also want it to be done as right as possible. Or, maybe you'd have more sense than me. Especially since the next run through, I make it right to the end with only one hit, and then suddenly the sniper decides to curve the bullet without even turning around. Naturally, I try to smoke bomb out of there, and while Batman obliges me with the animation, no smoke actually comes out. I had no idea they included dud smoke bombs in this game. You would think running away is a good idea, but my run is not working either. I try and zip away, only to be shot down. Well then, can't say I saw that coming. Origins is by far the glitchiest game, sure, but that was quite the combo. I sat there a bit, wondering if that really deserved a restart, and if I could interject now, I'd say not at all. But restart I do, though by now I've decided that glitches no longer deserve counting as they don't measure skill at all. Wish I had that thought here. At least Origins has plenty of fun glitches too, like the smartest henchman alive who pretends Batman isn't here in the hopes I'll go away. Doesn't work, but it is a good attempt. The next run goes okay, but I must think myself far better than I am when I land right next to 2 gunmen in Arkham City. I honestly thought they were facing away, which explains my arrogance, but that doesn't change the result of being dead. It goes even worse next run. Halfway through Asylum, the auto-aim batarang goes right into the floor. I try again, fall instead, but manage to take down the armed thug. Instead of fleeing or doing anything sensible, I instead chuck my sonic batarang at the approaching enemy. Then while trying to switch to the proper batarang quickly, I instead decide to immortalize the spot I die with a bat symbol. Anything for the arts, you know. On my next visit to the asylum, I nearly make it to the end, but after knocking Killer Croc into the water, I try and run on and find myself suddenly submerged. Despite platforms most certainly being there, the game would rather I die. Hoping a break would help, it's here I headed off to go play the LEGO Batman 2 No Dying Challenge before coming back a week later. All the while, I marathon Batman the Animated Series for the 6th time. You might say, this is too much Batman. And then I would proceed to knock you out, as that's what Batman seems to do to all crazy people. What you just proved yourself to be. The break proves beneficial at first, only having 1 hit in Origins till I reach the end segment and within 25 minutes go up to 17 hits. I'm not sure where my senses went here, but I'd really like to have them back. By the time I'm over halfway through Asylum, I still haven't found them and get shot up yet again. On the next run, Origins goes down in a breeze, but I rack up quite a hit count in Asylum. I admit to paying more attention to watching Kim Possible here than to the challenge. But can you blame me with how many times I've beaten these now? I mean, you can, but could you kindly not? I make it through Asylum regardless, but of course die quite quickly. Of all things, run over multiple times by a Titan monster. That's a first. I've never had much trouble with them before. You would think the more I play, the better I get. And while that's true to a point, there's another key thing that grows every playthrough. My recklessness. Yep, I may have won a while ago, but the more I play through the same moments over and over, the more reckless I become. There's just something maddening about making it through Origins yet again and almost through Asylum when Killer Croc proves he can teleport to eat me. Or when I beat Origins again but accidentally grapple a foot too far to the right, which gets me spotted and promptly killed. Or when I reach that same room once again only to accidentally move to a gargoyle at the exact moment a henchman looks up randomly. And in the same day, beat Origins yet again so that I can barely survive getting shot near the end of Asylum. But worry not. This time I'm going to make it. Oh wait, no, never mind. Dead again. In fact, I've been killed so many times that Batman started to fall like an angel coming to Earth. Not just him, but all the thugs as well. It would be beautiful if it wasn't responsible for a ton of near deaths before finally actually dying. Not even exiting the game and popping back in fixed this glitch. Only death released me from my angelic duty. By now, you've probably noticed the only way for me to get killed in Origins is through glitches, but Asylum is far, far more accommodating. It has a plethora of ways to kill me. But finally, I make it through both Origins and Asylum. Arkham City tries to kill me over and over, but survive I do, though often just barely. Reaching the final boss of Clayface, he gets me to a sliver of my health twice, and each time my heart completely stops beating for a full minute. Not being reckless for once pays off, and finally, after a month since I blew myself up in the Batmobile, I've made it back to Arkham Knight. Well, for the sake of what little sanity I have left, it's best I don't die again. Now, where was I? Oh yes, blown up by the Riddler. Well, since it's completely optional and got me killed for no reason, it'd be smart to leave that area alone then, right? Right. But I'm not smart, I'm stubborn. I head straight to the racetrack, doing it multiple times to get the maximum rewards from it before moving on. Sure, I shaved a few years off my life with how much I was stressing over the easiest race in the game, but I did it. After tracking down some of the Scarecrow's men, Batman doesn't want to risk the hostage, so he calls in his new super suit. Why he didn't start the night with this, I have no idea. And also have to ask, is he wearing 2 suits now, or did he just hope no henchman would peek out while he was changing into his other suit? Either way, this suit truly is special, allowing for many upgrades, most importantly the ability to perform a fear takedown, which clears stealth engagements with ease. With the hostage safe, I use the power of science to track Scarecrow's whereabouts. Surprise, surprise, he's in Ace Chemicals, practically the only place in the whole city you can make a chemical bomb like the one he just threatened to use. Upon reaching there, Batman goes face to face with an attack helicopter, despite having 0 cover. I mean, he's Batman, sure, but wow, this is next level cocky. This is knowing you have plot armor cocky. In fact, Arkham Knight here, the titular mysterious villain, would have opened fire if not for Scarecrow remote disabling the guns. Thanks, Scarecrow buddy. A moment later, I get to fight another helicopter, but sadly, not hand to, well, rotors? Breaking into the chemical plant, I find the combat extremely easy, as I can now smash them with everything I can find. Plus, I also move a lot faster. Magic science armor for the win! Confronting Scarecrow, he reveals he knows about Barbara Gordon, aka Oracle, aka Batgirl, and is having her bat-napped. Scarecrow escapes while I check on her, but the chemical plant is still about to explode. Everything is going to hell, but Batman refuses to leave without reducing the blast radius as much as possible. Well, I guess this is it. I suppose I'll play as Robin for the rest of the game, but at least it's a pretty epic send-off for Bruce. When things seem to get as bad as they can, Joker appears. Batman faints, and when he comes to, Joker's still here. He's a wonderful hallucination caused by the fear toxin and the toxic blood he injected into Batman back in Arkham City. While very interesting, I can't help but notice that for such a dramatic scene of near death, Batman even had time for a nap, and the building still hasn't blown. I guess these explosives know the most dramatic time to do it. only going off right as I pass by. By now, the Arkham Knight has unleashed his army on Gotham City, but my first priority is escorting Gordon to find his missing daughter. If only I was a better driver. Thankfully, Gordon can survive long enough without my help. After saving him, I destroy a few tanks and get to work securing the clock tower, which goes quite terribly. Nothing more awkward than making eye contact while trying to knock someone out. I survive by the skin of my teeth and get to work taking out the rest of them. And by that, I of course mean I get killed by an eagle-eyed soldier. Wow, that sucks. Oh well, it wouldn't be worth doing if it didn't drive me insane after all, right? Beginning again, my recklessness is at an all-time high for obvious reasons. This leads to a ton more hits in areas I usually have zero trouble in, before getting a very well-deserved death over halfway through Arkham City. I try again, this time more patient, but still get myself gunned down an hour into City. This was at 1 p.m., March 1st, and by 11:55 the same day, I managed to beat the first 3 Arkham games once again. This time, it only took a couple days to get back to Night. They even sent a car to greet me. How nice. The helicopter fight goes far, far worse this time. Thanks to the advice of a friend, I finally invested in some health, and only because of that do I survive with about 1% health left. But hey, survival is survival. This time, securing the tower is a breeze, but I still suffer the pain of losing a friendship. Gordon is mad at me for his daughter getting nabbed, and takes off on his own. While I get his anger, Batman has the best goodies for tracking people, so why not be mad at him, but still use his tech, eh, Gordon? See? I'm tracking her with ease. And if he had stayed, he might have been able to keep me focused instead of running off to play in the Mad Hatter's storybook. Probably would have kept me from engaging in so many tank battles as well. Speaking of which, the Batmobile is responsible for a huge amount of the hits I take, so I make sure to upgrade it every chance. I'm a seasoned martial artist by now, but rather rusty at blowing things up in a tank. It would have made the other games quite a bit easier. I really should get back to Oracle. Ooh, Firefly! Must chase bright light. Okay, now back to the hunt. While trying to ambush the Arkham Knight, he pulls a reverse Uno card on me. Ow! Good thing getting shot is a minor inconvenience, and I'm chasing him down a second later. Crushing his car, I find it to be an imposter, not the Knight, but I handle it with grace and dignity. That's what I call the tires of the Batmobile. Now I know the Penguin knows where to go next, but first I have to do some science to cure the Man-Bat roam in the city. This is honestly the hardest and evilest part of the entire game. I miss getting shot at! When I do reach the Penguin, Nightwing, my old protege, joins me to make the easy combat even easier. With the info I gain there, I make my way to some airships to rescue Simon Stagg, a rich old dude who helped Scarecrow build a secret weapon called the Cloudburst. It doesn't take long to rescue him, but on confronting Scarecrow, I'm forced to choose which one is the real Scarecrow. There's no choosing right here, but one would think the guy who has been using super speed all night would have no trouble attacking both before they could move. Or, using a batarang from afar? But then again, Batman has enough issues on his mind as you can see. Scarecrow points out that we're only halfway through the game, so of course I have to let him go. But now I know where Barbara's being held. I'm sure she won't mind if I take a couple stops first though to play with the Man-Bat and take care of a few militia towers. I'm sure she's fine. Huh. Well, if anyone asks, I got here as fast as I could. Time to go find a new redhead to put in danger. Poison Ivy is immune to the toxin, so she might be able to help counter Scarecrow's coming attack. But I'm easily distracted, so a second later I'm off putting a stop to Two-Face's attempt to rob the banks of Gotham. Sure, the city's about to be destroyed, Penguin is filling the streets with guns, a bunch of firemen are being held hostage, and there's a ton of militia on every street corner. But the banks come first. Some of my money might be in there, and I won't let them have a cent. All these side missions, of course, take more time and added risk, but none are particularly difficult, and every upgrade point makes me safer and safer for future threats. Like when Harley Quinn takes over my headquarters out of nowhere. I team up with Robin to deal with her and the 3 Joker lookalikes that have escaped my custody. Which, yeah, okay, Batman has been currently holding 4 people illegally captive down here for months. But is that really worth mentioning? I mean, who hasn't done the same thing? It doesn't take long to subdue each of them with Robin's help, but upon returning to their cells, we find the 4th, the supposedly immune one, has murdered the rest. He holds us at gunpoint, mainly threatening Harley, while he kills off the last of the Joker lookalikes. Which, once again, I'm forced to ask why Batman, who has repeatedly stopped worse situations than this, including one later tonight, and who most certainly has super speed, can't move faster than one old man, Jokerized or not. His suit can easily take the bullets as well. I guess he just didn't feel like saving them. With that done, I go to protect Poison Ivy from a bunch of tanks. Unfortunately, while I'm busy doing that, the Cloudburst weapon activates, unleashing fear toxin across all of Gotham. Yikes. May have messed up there. This seems to be a habit. Modifying the Batmobile, I take down a bunch of tanks and head deep into Gotham's tunnels to activate a giant tree. As one does. Despite being an easy, nothing to it section, my brain goes on autopilot for just a second. But that's all it takes. I gain the unwanted attention of several tanks, and instead of doing anything sensible, like wait them out and cover or use a smoke bomb, I decide to rush to safety. And it turns out I am not, in fact, faster than a speeding bullet. Or a ton of speeding bullets. And like that, and yet another completely avoidable death, it's time to restart. I was only 2 hours from retirement too. The next run in Asylum ends when I don't drop off my line launcher on the first click, but stupidly try to drop again anyways. Right into the water, with good old Killer Croc. Thankfully, within 24 hours of dying at night, I was back in it yet again. I tore through it as fast as I could, pouring all my upgrade points into the Batmobile, and it's a good thing I do. Because when I make it back to the spot I died in previously, it's incredibly simple to pass, as it was always supposed to be, but the boss fight right after with the Arkham Knight's Cloudburst is far, far harder. The Batmobile almost goes to tank heaven, but through luck and the most frantic dodging in the world, I managed to avoid the onslaught his tank unleashes time and time again. Long enough to blow his tank up and capture him. Well, almost capture him. Another hallucination gets in the way, allowing for his escape. I'm starting to think hallucinating Joker might have more downsides than ups. Just maybe. Oh well, time to get back to Poison Ivy. Oh, she's dead too. Huh. Lost yet another redhead. But the city has never looked better. In her honor, I'll get right to stopping Scarecrow. Nah, not really. Let's finish capturing Man-Bat. That seems more fun. When I pass an optional tank battle, I almost show sense and don't take the risk of dying here. But that would be smart. And as we've well established by now, I'm stubborn, not smart. As my health bar flashes with knowledge that I'm a heartbeat from death with 20 enemy tanks still remaining, all I can do is fire like crazy and curse my 2 minutes ago self for getting me into this. If only I normally played at the same skill level my ultra desperate self plays at. Thankfully, I survived in game, but my real physical body definitely had a stress-induced heart attack or two. If I was worried there, then that's nothing compared to when the Arkham Knight pops up again. He has a giant mining drill that will crush me in one hit. No section of the game worried me more than this one. Thankfully, other than suffering a small hit by a fan, I managed to outrace the Knight, only to get cornered a second later, forcing me to abandon the faithful Batmobile to its doom. Upon finding Gordon captive here, I rescue him, but here's where things get annoying. Not game-wise, as the Arkham Knight boss battle is very easy, but filming-wise, as I don't learn till later after the fact that the game will not allow recording of these moments, for fear of spoilers. I can tell you I get hit near the end of the fight by the Knight's sniper attack and take a few turret shots that does leave me near death, but I do beat the titular character. I believe in your guys' imagination on the matter though. Just don't imagine the parts where I got shot. Unless, could you make it look really epic on my part? With the Knight down, I confront Scarecrow, and after getting shot off a building in a cutscene, my recording comes back to life. I'm driving the spare Batmobile, despite Lucius Fox very clearly saying at the beginning of the game,
"Please be careful with the car, Mr. Wayne. She's one of a kind."
Guess this is how he spent his evening. Making it back to the GCPD, it comes under assault by Scarecrow in one final attempt to bring me down. Facing off against 60 enemies consisting of helicopters, missile launchers, and a variety of tanks, I'm extremely grateful for getting every upgrade the Batmobile has to offer. This allows me to wipe out the horde of them while only losing about half my health, a little bit more than that. I then head back to the roof to take down the waves of soldiers that land, but they're not any trouble. Huzzah! You might be wondering why my victory huzzah is here already, but the next bit is not only shut up by the game's evil recording problem, but it's more cinematic than dangerous. I'm not even sure it's actually possible to die here. So with that, after 2.5 months of work, at 1 in the morning, I have finally beaten all 4 Arkham games without dying a single time for one run. I really never thought it would be this hard going into it, but I should never underestimate my own foolishness. My final Arkham Knight run took about 9 hours and 50 minutes, combined with the final run of Origins taking 3 hours 26 minutes, Asylum 2 hours 48 minutes, and City 2 hours 52 minutes, making the whole final run take a total of 18 hours and 56 minutes with a whopping total of 116 hits. I would like to point out that 52 of those hits were non-Batmobile related. Adding 16 fares to my nice collection of 13 already brings my total death count to 29 for the entire challenge, with a total time of about 234 hours spent striving to beat it. The hardest part of Arkham Knight was obviously driving that darn Bat-Tank around, but many upgrades made it doable. The easiest part was definitely the regular combat, as Arkham Knight was much easier combat than its counterpart games. I'm sorry this challenge took so long, but to you, my friends, and to my sanity, which is no longer with us, I'm afraid. Thank you very much for coming along on this journey, and I hope you join me on countless more. Now go have an amazing day, and if you're not going to be smart about it, at the very least, be stubborn. Have fun, friends.